On our way to Granada from the west, we fly over the Strait of Gibraltar, where the Mediterranean Sea joins the Atlantic Ocean and Europe meets Africa, the presently closed sea border between Spain and Morocco. In the southeast of the Iberian Peninsula, the legendary town of Granada lies at the foot of the Sierra Nevada. Hi, UFI students. Hola. We are in Granada, in front of the Alhambra's Gate of Common Justice, Bab al-Sharia in Arabic, Puerta de la Justicia in Spanish. My name is Miguel Fernandez. I am your teacher for the Granada module of the Euro 199 Smart Cities course. I'm a philosophy PhD, an international educator, and a learning facilitator of critical thinking and transcultural communication skills. Inside the Alhambra compound, we stand between the palaces and the fortress, on what used to be a gorge, and where the Christian settlers built two enormous water cisterns, or aljibes, the Spanish word of Arabic origin. Hence it is called Patio de los Aljibes, the courtyard of the water cisterns. From here, we look at the ancient Albaicin quarter on the opposite hill, over the valley of the river Dal. The Alhambra and the Albaicin belonging to UNESCO's, the United Nations Education, Science and Culture Organization, list of World Heritage Sites. From St. Nicholas' viewpoint, the Albaicin is looking at Alhambra. Next to St. Nicholas, we find the new mosque. It was founded by new Muslim converts, financed by an Arab Gulf country, and inaugurated in 2003, 500 years after the Christian conquerors had banned the Muslim cult. In Granada, there is also a recent and growing population of immigrant Moroccan Muslims who have their own humbler mosque in the lower Albaicin. In the background, to the left, the church of St. Michael's on the hill overlooks the whole town. The main entrance of the Alhambra palaces, the Golden Hall, exhibits some extraordinarily designed chapiters, chiseled in white local Macael marble, like the fountain basin on the also marble tiled floor. The facade of the Golden Gate, with its succession from top to bottom of a wood-carved projecting roof, a plaster engraved wall with floral motifs, and a geometrical colored ceramic tile socle. This gate, where it used to stand, leads us directly into the courtyard of the Myrtles, facing Yusuf I's palace inside the Comares Tower. Yusuf was the seventh Sultan of the Nasrid dynasty, from 1333 to 1354. The water in the pool reflects the tower and the seven symbolic and precisely proportioned arches. The Alhambra palaces have also been considered the most beautifully published book in the world. On the walls we find many inscriptions in Arabic adorned with floral and geometrical designs. From the ever-present Nasrid dynasty motto, Wala Ghaliba illallah, there is no victor but God, through surahs of the Quran, short prayers, expressions of good wish, praises to the sultans, to full precious poems by Ben al-Jatib or Ben Samrak. These words were generally engraved in plaster and originally colored, but also carved on wood or embedded in tiles. In the hall of Comares, along the wooden frame between the upper walls and the ceiling, 30 verses of the Quran's Surah of Divine Sovereignty are inscribed. The dome, itself a magnificent piece of originally colored woodcraft, represents the paradigmatic vision of their culture by the cosmology of the seven heavens encircling the earth on successive upward layers. It is also called the Hall of Ambassadors, as it was the room where foreign officials were first received and left considerably impressed. The central alcove of the Comares Hall, with its symbolic geometrical patterns in colored interlaced tiles, is the place where the Sultan, the king, sat. His viziers or ministers sat in the other alcoves around the hall. The Alhambra is also a monument to water, the water that revived the body inside and purified it outside. Besides the pools and fountains, there were big vases decorating the halls, and smaller jars for water in tacas or closets, like this one at the entrance of the Comares Hall, with a framing point where the jar speaks of its virtues. Geometrical patterns had a cosmological and a metaphysical meaning. This style of design is unique of the Alhambra and has inspired the modern Dutch draftsman M.C. Escher, among other artists. It creates an optical illusion of movement. There are 4 palace halls around the Courtyard of Lions, with its impressive fountain and its forest of 124 elegant white Macal marble columns. It was built by Mohammed V, the son of Yusuf I, who built Comares. Here, the recreation of water reaches its maximum splendor, with a symbolic representation of the 4 rivers of paradise flowing from each hall and reaching the fountain, which is sustained by 12 marble chiseled lions. The South Hall of Abencerrajes and the North Hall of Two Sisters display extraordinary 3D colored engraved plaster cell ceilings, expression of a more elaborate cosmological vision. In the inner alcove of Two Sisters Hall, we find the so-called viewpoint of Lindaraja, Ain Dar Aisha in Arabic, meaning the eyes of the house of Aisha, Aisha being the Sultan's wife. Every wall in the Alhambra palaces is decorated with colored engraved plaster or ceramic tiles with beautiful details. At the entrance to Aisha's gallery, we can see this extraordinary tile work where the ceramic Arabic words are embedded into the tiles proclaiming, "Praise be to the Sultan Abu Abdallah, Mohammed V." This would have been the view of the Albayzin from Aisha's arched windows, as the Christian settlers later made an enclosed courtyard under them, and built the rooms where the New York author Washington Irving, who wrote the famous Tales of the Alhambra among many other books, spent 2 months in 1829. There are other smaller palaces in the Alhambra, like Partal, each with its private prayer chamber. Some of these palaces occupied the interior of defensive towers, called calahorras, which expresses the double use of the construction. Now, from the Tower Palace of Turrets, we look at the Generalife Summer Palace and Gardens on the other side of the gorge. Generalife being a corruption of the Arabic Shan al-Arif, the garden of the architect. Walking through the Generalife, we pass along the modernly designed Italian-like gardens, and we enjoy some splendid panoramic views of the Alhambra and the Albayzin Quarter from the high hill where it stands. The Summer Palace itself is a monument to water and the perfect frame for a beautiful flower garden. In the middle of the Alhambra compound, which also included a service town, a big mosque, and public baths, the Emperor Charles V, the grandson of the Catholic monarchs who conquered Granada, commissioned the construction of a magnificent Renaissance palace representing its own cosmological vision in 1526. At that point, the Spanish-Austrian Empire was at the height of its power, and, as it was hegemonic, considered itself to be the center of the world. On leaving the Alhambra through the gate of common law we had entered, we find a most beautiful fountain also built in Charles V times. On our way downhill to the town of Granada, we head towards the Royal Chapel, built in 1505 resembling a late Gothic style, where we find the tombs of Queen Isabella of Castile and King Ferdinand of Aragon, the so-called Catholic monarchs, who were the conquerors of the Muslim kingdom of Granada and the founders of a unified Spain. The kingdom of Granada was the last bastion of Al-Andalus, the Islamic country south of Europe, which had lasted for over 800 years. The last Muslim king, Boabdil, surrendered the capital town of the kingdom peacefully, so the Alhambra was preserved intact and the local Muslim population respected in their properties, religion and customs, although those provisions changed a few years later, when they were forcibly Christianized and finally expelled in 1610. In this 1882 picture by Francisco Pradilla, King Boabdil gives the key to Granada to the Catholic monarchs, before taking his way into exile with his family and noblemen. These contemporary glazed windows reflect the modernist buildings in Granada's main street, and also Mariano Benllure's 1892 monumental sculpture representing Queen Isabella of Castile, granting Christopher Columbus the funds for his venture into the New World, in the Christian camp at Santa Fe a few months before the surrender of Granada in 1492. Columbus was looking for a new route to Asia, navigating westward. Granada's cathedral was built between 1526 and 1561 in the area where the Muslim town main mosque and the School of Quranic Law stood. Designed in a full Renaissance style, its frontal facade exhibits a superb triple arch of triumph, representing the victory of Christendom over Islam. The tower was meant to be 2 stories higher as a further sign of supremacy. Granada almost became the capital city of the Habsburg Empire in the 1500s. Near the cathedral, Federico García Lorca's Cultural Center has been recently inaugurated. It is devoted to the work and memory of this world-renowned poet from Granada, who met a tragic death at the beginning of the Spanish Civil War in 1936. Nowadays, Granada is a thriving university town with over 50,000 students in 3 campuses. It was founded by Emperor Charles V in 1531, and it was at that time strictly linked to the Catholic Church. What used to be a royal endowed hospital in the 1500s is now the seat of the university's chancellery and of the historical library. The School of Law, the former School of Medicine, and the old University Hospital are to be found in the town center. The former School of Medicine is a singular 20th century building which has been transformed into a university cultural space with multiple uses. Besides the Sciences and Humanities campuses, there is a new Health Sciences campus with a vibrant present and a promising future for Granada. Nowadays, still preserving her beauty and romantic allure, she has become one of the most advanced health technology hubs in southern Europe. Granada is a small town where the east meets the west, the north meets the south, the past meets the future.